that we are always here every weekday from 6:30. So 6:30, make it a date with us. The mighty four, the fantastic four are here, plus a big team behind the scenes, the camera people, and we open up your day. We make sure that we kickstart your day with the relevant information, some light moments, laughter here and there, just to spice up, to brighten up, to give you that morning vibe, yet very informative, because we make sure you're well versed with what is happening locally and internationally. So why not make it a date with us tomorrow? Then later, we come with this extension, looking at issues of national concern. Now, this morning, we are going to be looking at the census program. Now, every 10 years in Uganda, we conduct a national census. We last did this in 2014, and we were supposed to have one this year, but unfortunately, due to reasons my guests will explain, we didn't have one. But all plans and all lights are clear that we are going to be having a national census next year, 2024. Now, join me, welcome James Muwonge, the Director, Methodology and Statistical Coordination Services, that is at Ubos, who is with me this morning, and he's going to be explaining and telling us more regarding the national census. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers, and nice to be here.
Now, to begin with, when we talk about a national census, what are we referring to, and why does government inject billions of money into this activity?
Okay, thank you. Now, a national census is the process of counting every individual, every person who is in the country at the time of the enumeration. Now, in this case, the census night, for instance, will be on the night of 9th. In other words, by 10th in the morning, they'll ask you why you spent a night of 9th. Now, every person, whether Ugandan or non-Ugandan, as long as you will be in Uganda on that night, you will be counted. And so what it means is that it's like taking a picture of what is happening in Uganda that very day or that night. And so anyone in there will have to be counted. And so we do this, as you've rightly put it, every 10 years. But sometimes there are delays due to resource constraints. But all the same, all is set. Now, you also asked why. Why do we do this? As you know, the population grows. People die, people are born, and people migrate. So we need to find out what is the status now after 10 years. Has the population increased? What is causing this increase? Is it largely due to births, or is it largely due to migration? Okay? But it's also important for planning purposes. We need to know the size so that the government can plan better. And maybe when you talk about planning, people may not rate it so much. But right at the household level where we live, we also plan. Because before you leave, you want to know that, well, now I have enough money for food, my children will go to school, or if there is a health issue, I have to go to a health facility. So depending on how many people are in an area, it's important that government plans gets to know the population in a particular area so that services are extended that can be able to serve the population in a particular location. Yeah.
Now, that said, when we look at the upcoming census,
Yes.
just a quick one for our viewers. When is it going to be conducted and for how long?
The next census, we are looking at May 2024. As I said, the enumeration will start on 10th. It will be a Friday. So Friday for at least 10 days. So we believe in 10 days we'll have covered all the people in Uganda. And So what we are going also to do this time around is because we are going to be using people who stay in those communities, we believe we will not have many challenges, but also we are going digital. We shall not be filling papers. We are going to come with the tablets, and all the information will be captured. The question will be asked, captured, and then read to the headquarters. So 10 days, come May 10th, from May 10th, as I said, the night of 9th. So starting morning of 10th up to probably around 20th, that's the period we shall do the enumeration.
Okay. Now, our viewers are aware, and please, this is a very important activity. Avail yourself, give the right information as well, because this information is very critical for planning purposes and development of a country. Now, one would like to know, how is the upcoming census strategically aligned to the National Development Plan?
Right. As I said, when you look at the National Development Plan, and the main objective is to increase the incomes of the people. And so when you look at the census, what the census is actually providing is, it provides a base of what is the total population that the government has to plan for. Or in terms of the National Development Plan, what is this population that we have to plan for? And when you look at the different programs that the 20 programs of the National Development Plan, and you look at, say, human capital as human capital. Now, the population, the different sizes, if you look at children, you need to know where to extend the services. When it comes to immunization, you need to know what should we plan for in a particular area. And as you see, as you know, Uganda is fairly large country. The distribution of the population is not the same across the country. So the planning, the National Development Plan, as it looks at the regional development, it's important to look at, consider issues of equity. So how do we make the distribution of the resources equitable? You can only do that when you know also the distribution of the population and the size. So when it comes to enrollment, okay, when you are to build the capacity of the population to be able to produce what will make the economy grow, you need to know how many pupils or learners are in school or need education services. And what kind of facilities do we need to put in place to make sure that we have a strong human capacity base that will help this economy and country to grow. So, and that's one of them. The other bit is when you look at the industrialization and agro-processing, you need markets. Who are the consumers? So you need the people, you need to know where the consumers are, so that producers can be able to transact and make sure that business grows, the economy grows, revenue is generated. So there are so many multiplier effects that come, that are informed by just conducting the census.
Now, when you look at, in light of the current population dynamics, what insights do you expect or anticipate the current census may look at?
Of course, when you look at insights, now, for instance, in 2014, the population was about 34.6. So we want to find out, currently we are using projections, and we are projecting that we are about 46.3. But the population, the census will give us the exact number that we have. Now, in terms of dynamics, there are a number of things happen. We have if you look at our sisters and mothers, the fertility rate, the rate at which, the average number of children a woman gives birth to in a lifetime, it has been decreasing. now estimated at 5.2. So the census is going to give us some additional information. Where are we now? Because we are probably at 5.4 or even 6 in 2011. Now, the more that number keeps on reducing, it shows you that our mothers are planning better for their, family planning or the number of children they are able to provide. Now, by the census is going to give us what is the trend now as far as fertility is concerned. But also, it will also help us to look at the children, okay? How is the mortality patterns, over time? What has been happening? What we had previously, has it changed? So we look at trends to be able to see whether the interventions of government, which have been where they have invested lots of money in the last 10 years, either have yielded fruits or we are stagnating. So those kind of dynamics will really come out. The census will help us to know that this is where we are in 2024.
Now, as urbanization continues to carry on, how is the census going to be able to capture data for rural and urban as well?
Okay, as I said, the census covers the entire country. Now, because we cover the entire country, it means we shall cover urban and rural areas as well. Now, what we are going to do this time round, which we have not been doing in the previous censuses, is that there has been a demand, and we have been having a lot of engagements with the most of the urban authorities, cities, that there are so many people who come to these cities to work. Children, learners come to study, and others come to access health services, but they stay outside these cities. In other words, people from Mukono come to Kampala to work. People from around Mbarara, not all those who go to Mbarara city stay within the city. So the question is, in the past they have been saying, but the services that are being budgeted for takes into consideration only those people who reside in the cities. Now, we have made a provision where we'll be able to also get an indication of how many people who actually come to those cities, but not necessarily reside in those cities. So that information would help us to get more information of what are some of the issues around urban populations.
And how does this information really help to create this balance?
You see, the population, urban and rural, there are certain services that are slightly different. That are required. So in urban areas, well, when you look at the population that comes to a city at a given time, maybe the kind of services you require maybe are slightly more than what you may need in a rural area. That's not to say that rural areas don't need the services, but it's the intensity of those services, the magnitudes that you require that probably differs. Now, in urban areas, as you know, in terms of sanitation, in terms of waste management, there is so much waste, that is accumulated, maybe by many people who don't reside in them as well. So, by capturing those who come in, together with those who reside, I think the city councils are in a better position to actually plan for these cities, and maybe also to adequately allocate sufficient resources to be able to deliver a quality service.
While we are still discussing the upcoming census that will kick off in May next year, and we are seeing and trying to understand what are the benefits of a country carrying out a census, as my guest is explaining how these statistics will trickle down into formulating policies and also ensure that they fit into the development plan that the country has. Now, One thing that comes to my mind, you've greatly explained how statistics are relevant and how they can be used, but now I want us to go to the exercise itself.
Okay.
May is not very far.
True.
We didn't have it this year. Of course, the launch was done, and we are sure that we are going to be having this census. 10 days.
Yes.
Are they good enough?
Okay. Yes, we believe previous experiences and the experiences elsewhere, and also our past censuses, we believe the 10 days are adequate. So we have, as it was mentioned at the launch, we believe that if we start on a Friday, we have a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those first 3-4 days, we want to cover as much as possible. And we are praying that as we have been promised that Friday is likely to be a public holiday, so that we cover as much as possible. But the 10 days is arrived at after looking at what does it take for an enumerator to cover what we call a village or an enumeration area. An enumeration area is a statistical, call it a statistical village. It is sometimes, many statistical villages into one village. That's what we call an enumeration area, because some of the villages are so big that one enumerator cannot cover it and finish in 10 days. So we try to divide it in such a way that we recruit enough enumerators to be able to finish it, to complete it in the 10 days. So for the 10 days, what also has informed the 10 days is that we do what we call mapping, or census mapping, before we do the actual enumeration. Now, during the mapping exercise, we actually we traverse the entire country. We go to each and every district, sub-county, parish, and villages, and try to do the actual listing to see how many people live in those villages. Now, the idea of doing that mapping is to make sure, to get an indication of how many enumerators are we likely to have, or do we need to make sure that we are able to complete the exercise in 10 days. Now, by doing that, we are able to estimate that yes, these 10 days will be sufficient. Where we believe that they will not be sufficient, then we add more resources in terms of recruitment. We shall have more enumerators to be able to provide, to make sure that we finish within the 10 days. In exceptional circumstances, as I said, exceptional, those will be handled as and when. But those are rare, isolated cases. We believe 10 days are sufficient. Yes.
Well, I'll be going for a short break, and when I return, we'll also look at the element of technology that is going to be applied here, where my guest earlier said that this time round, they will be having tablets, and it won't be the ordinary way. It is going to be more of digital capturing, and not the usual we are used to, where someone comes, there is paper, they're asking you questions and all that. So how good is the technology? What stage are they to ensure that they have whatever is needed to carry out a proper, effective national census? Let's go for this break. I'll return shortly. Keep it with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights, and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. a transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso, every Wednesday live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are,
but you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
No, they are not recounted.
Welcome back from that break, and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. We are still looking at the census program that is going to, the national census will be kicking off in May next year, and we're discussing its relevancy and what you need to know regarding the census. Now, before we went for a break, I and my guest had touched, and I promised you that we'll be looking at the issue of technology, ICT. I've seen a number of government programs where technology has been an issue. Either the numerators or the people that are having these gadgets have issues. They'll tell you we didn't train, or the gadgets themselves have issues. Now, this time, how are you ensuring that we do not have these challenges?
Okay, I think, thank you, moderator. The issue is we have done good preparations, and we are still preparing to make sure that come the census, we don't have any hiccups as far as technology is concerned. We are working closely with the Ministry of ICT. We are working closely with other agencies, but also we have benchmarked within the East African community, and also COMESA with those countries that have actually done this before, to make sure that we prepare adequately, and I can assure you that all will be set. Yes.
Now, when you talk about all will be set, I just want to take you to something of concern, and I stand to be corrected. I know that there is what we call mapping of villages, an exercise that is very critical. I live in Kampala. I'm much in the division. Not heard of this anywhere yet within. So if we are saying ready, May is not very far. And mapping is something very critical. Have we done this for Kampala? maybe other parts have we done it? Because it is one thing that informs the baseline of how we are going to be able to know even how these numerators are distributed and all that.
True, we decided to start up country. We started actually last year. So we have been traversing this country, try to do the mapping where we list the number of households in a given village across the country. Now, cities, coming to cities last was a strategic decision, and justifiably so, because the people move. The levels of mobility in cities is so high that today you are in Machinde, or there is a village in Machinde. Before you know, if you do it in the first, quickly, within 6 months you find when it has turned into a mall. Okay, now it means you have to go back. So what we decided was we shall cover the cities last, and beginning January, the whole of January we shall be in the city. So in Machinde, you shall come there. We shall go to the greater Kampala, Mukono, Wachiso, but also the cities of Masaka, Mbarara, Ruambale. All those we shall be there. And the idea is, because we are trying to reach them as close to the census as possible, so that by the time of enumeration, there are no much differences, okay, that we will encounter at the time of enumeration. So I would actually like to take this opportunity to appeal to the leadership in the cities, right from the local council one, that when a team from the Bureau, because we use the staff from within the district, so now we shall also use the staff within the cities. We shall work with the divisions to identify the people who can support us in this exercise. Of course, our role will be to do the training and also support them wherever, to make sure that we finish within the timeline. So the appeal is, we are coming to you, please support us in this exercise, so that the foundation upon which the census is anchored is solid and firm.
Now, we also look at recruitment of the people that are going to conduct this census. You've not really, even before the mapping is finished, you may have to be very sure of the numbers you need, because now we are just estimating that maybe by the census we shall have maybe 40 this million of people. So how far have you gone as far as recruiting the people you're going to be needing? Then, of course, recruitment will involve training to avoid certain things really that may derail or slow or not even give us the best of results.
Okay, thank you. Actually, one of the reasons why we are doing the mapping is to make sure that we get adequate estimate or proper estimate, indication of the number of enumerators that we need. But of course, as you said, maybe the governance structure of this census program, it starts at high level, because there is a cabinet committee that supervises, oversees, which is chaired by the Prime Minister. Then you have the steering committee that the Permanent Secretary Treasury chairs, which is composed of permanent secretaries. And these are many ministries, because as I said, the census covers all of us. It has education, it has health. So all those permanent secretaries are members to the steering committee. But also below the committee, we have the board or directors of the bureau, which also supervises. Then there is the census technical committee and other committees. But now at the district level, there are district structures that have been constituted, and the COW is the technical lead. So the COW, the bureau is going to provide the guidelines of who is expected to, the qualities of those to be enumerators and supervisors at the district level, and we shall work with the district local governments to make sure that they identify the enumerators through recruitment. And there will be the proper procedures of recruitment. We shall work with the local governments to make sure that we get the right people who will be able to use the tablets that we are going to use to actually undertake the census. So in terms of the numbers, yes, the mapping is helping us to know the numbers, but we have some ideas, also have some indications, because as I said, the last census was 2014. So we have the list of all villages that were existing in 2014. But we also know that there are a number of villages that have been created, just as there are a number of districts that have been created. Now, because these districts have been created, some local governments have created villages, they have parceled out villages. So by going there to do the listing, we are getting this information and trying to make sure that we also update our list before the main census enumeration. So the mapping exercise is helping us, but because we are also working with local governments, it is also helping the local governments as well, maybe to identify the potential enumerators or supervisors, come May 2024.
Well, some jobs up there if you do qualify. Now, a very interesting one.
Yes.
You're having a slogan as the National Bureau of Statistics that are mandated to carry out this, that it matters to be counted.
Yes.
Is it mandatory for me to be counted in a census? There are people that have had certain faith that do not believe in being counted.
True.
And over a time, every government program that requires them to be counted, they don't participate. So for the national census, is it criminal? Can I be taken on? Is it voluntary? If I don't feel opening up my gate to strangers, is it an offense?
Okay. Yes, I think, thank you. All I can say, first of all, yes, it matters to be counted. And the appeal is, let's all of us stand out to be counted. Why? Because as I said, if you look at the area where we stay, let's move from the national level to the location, the village where we are. Now we expect government to provide services, but even within our households, we also need to know what is going on around us. Now, if you don't know what goes on around you, then sometimes you miss out on opportunities that you would have benefited from as an individual, but also as a household. Now, the case in point is now there is PDM. PDM is at parish level. Now, at parish level, I've heard people saying that in our parish we are so many people. So why are they complaining about so many people? Because they know the numbers matter, and the numbers impact on the distribution, how much each one gets. So as an individual, it benefits you if you are to target PDM and you don't want to be counted, then you'll be outside those that are known to benefit from PDM. That's just one example. But also, as an individual, if you are to access services and you are excluded from one exercise, then what that means is that if they are bringing vaccines, if they are planning for primary schools, they will only plan for a few, depending on those who responded. And yet, if the majority exclude themselves, but want to access those services, then there will be overcrowding. There will be inadequate supply of provisions. And as a result, the quality of service offered will now be compromised. You start saying that there are inadequate, there are always no drugs, there are all these kind of excuses. So let's do our part. Let us avail ourselves. Come the 10th of May, as I said, from 10th to around 20th, be there. If you are in Uganda, you'll be counted. Because if you are not in Uganda, Yes, as I said, we only look at those who are in the country, you will be counted. Now, this cuts across. It doesn't mean that it's only, as I said, it's not only Ugandans. Even the refugees who are in this country, they will also be counted. So whoever will be in, even those who will be at the bus stations transiting to go to their homes, they will be counted. So stand out to be counted because it matters to be counted. It matters for service delivery. It matters for planning purposes. It matters for resource allocation.
Well, we must move out of here, but before I let you go, what is your final remark to the public?
My final appeal is, first of all, to appeal to all of us who are listening in, who are viewing, watching us, that let's pass on the message that let all of us participate. Some of our colleagues who usually run away from such exercises, try to sensitize them. And I request the leaders in those areas to please sensitize the communities that census has nothing to do with the, your animals or livestock dying or your children dying. Because some people say, if they count my children, they will die. Or if they count my livestock, they will perish. No. This is an exercise that's going to benefit all of us. Let's be there come the May 2024 so that we develop this country together. So I appeal to all of you and all of us to make sure that we participate, we contribute to this exercise, because as the moderator has indicated, government has injected a lot of money. So let's put all this money to proper use by being involved in this exercise.
Well, I want to thank you so much, James Muonge, who happens to be the Director, Methodology and Statistical Coordination Services at the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, that will be conducting the census come May next year. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And above all, I want to thank you, our viewer. Thank you for being with us from 6:30 till now. Hope you make it a day tomorrow. Have a lovely day. For God and my country, good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso, every Wednesday live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations